The name Doc Holliday conjures images of dusty saloons and deadly duels. His name is synonymous with the Wild West, a time when lawlessness reigned and men settled their disputes with bullets rather than words. The mere mention of his name evokes a sense of danger and adventure, a time when the American frontier was still untamed and full of possibilities. He stands in the American imagination as a legendary figure of the Wild West, a man whose life has been romanticized in countless books, movies, and folklore. But who was the real Doc Holliday? What drove him to become one of the most feared and respected gunfighters of his time? To understand the man behind the legend, we must delve deeper into his life and the events that shaped him. His reputation as a cold-blooded gunfighter, cemented in Tombstone alongside Wyatt Earp, precedes him. The infamous gunfight at the OK Corral is perhaps the most well-known event in his life, a 30-second shootout that has been immortalized in history. But this was just one chapter in a life filled with both triumph and tragedy. Holliday's friendship with Wyatt Earp was one of mutual respect and loyalty, a bond forged in the fires of conflict and danger. But Holliday's story runs deeper than the bullet-riddled saloons and showdowns at high noon. Beneath the surface of the gunslinger persona was a man of complexity and contradiction. He was a trained dentist, a profession that seems worlds apart from the violent life he led. Yet it was his battle with tuberculosis that pushed him towards the West and into the life of a gambler and gunfighter. Behind the steely gaze and the quick draw existed another side to John Henry Holliday, a cunning gambler with a mind as sharp as his pistol. His skills at the poker table were legendary, and he used his intellect and charm to navigate the treacherous waters of the frontier. Gambling was not just a pastime for Holliday, it was a way of life, a means of survival in a world where the stakes were always high. Holliday's life was a gamble from the start. Every decision he made, every hand he played, was a calculated risk. He lived on the edge, knowing that his illness could claim him at any moment. This sense of mortality gave him a fearless edge, a willingness to take risks that others would shy away from. It was this fearless attitude that made him both a formidable opponent and a loyal friend. Born in Georgia in 1851, he faced an early battle with tuberculosis. This debilitating disease would haunt him for the rest of his life, shaping his choices and his destiny. Despite his illness, Holliday was determined to live life on his own terms. He pursued a career in dentistry, a respectable profession that offered stability and respect. But fate had other plans for him. Forced to seek drier climates for his health, he headed west, leaving behind his family and former life. The journey was arduous, but it offered a glimmer of hope. The West was a land of opportunity, a place where a man could reinvent himself. For Holliday, it was a chance to escape the constraints of his past and forge a new path. The open plains and rugged landscapes of the frontier called to him, promising adventure and a fresh start. The West offered a chance for reinvention, a place where a man could forge a new destiny. It was a land of promise and peril, where fortunes could be made and lost in the blink of an eye. For many, it was a place to start anew, to leave behind the old world and embrace the possibilities of the new. Holliday embraced this spirit of reinvention, carving out a new identity as a gambler and gunfighter. For Doc Holliday, that destiny lay in the saloons and gambling halls that dotted the frontier towns. These were places of both camaraderie and conflict, where men tested their wits and their luck. Holliday thrived in this environment, using his skills and his sharp mind to navigate the dangers and opportunities of the frontier. His life was a constant gamble, a high-stakes game where the rewards were great, but the risks were even greater. In the end, it was this spirit of adventure and risk-taking that defined him, making him a true legend of the Wild West. While his gun earned him respect and fear, it was Holliday's skill at the gambling table that truly defined him. In the rough-and-tumble world of the Old West, where life was often unpredictable and perilous, Doc Holliday found a semblance of control and mastery at the poker table. The saloon, with its smoky haze and flickering oil lamps, became his arena, a place where he could wield his intellect and cunning as effectively as any weapon. Gambling was more than a pastime for Doc, it was a way of life. The clinking of poker chips, the shuffling of cards, and the murmur of players' voices were the soundtrack to his existence. Each game was a new challenge, a fresh opportunity to outwit his opponents and secure his place in the annals of Western lore. For Holliday, the poker table was a stage where he could perform his own brand of magic, turning the odds in his favor with a flick of the wrist or a well-timed bluff. It was a constant in his ever-changing world, a source of income and camaraderie. In a time when alliances were fleeting and fortunes could change in an instant, the poker table offered a rare sense of stability. Here, Holliday could forge connections with fellow gamblers, share stories, and even find moments of levity amidst the tension. The camaraderie of the saloon was a balm for his weary soul, a reminder that even in the harshest of environments, there was room for friendship and laughter. From poker to faro, Holliday mastered the games of chance that captivated the West. Each game had its own set of rules and strategies, and Holliday approached them with the same meticulous attention to detail that he applied to his dental practice. Whether dealing cards or placing bets, he was always in control, his mind working tirelessly to calculate the odds and anticipate his opponent's moves. The thrill of the game was intoxicating, a rush that kept him coming back for more night after night. He possessed an uncanny ability to read his opponents, his sharp eyes missing nothing. Every twitch, every glance, every subtle shift in posture was a clue that Holliday could decipher with ease. His opponents might have thought they were playing cards, but in reality they were playing against Holliday's razor-sharp mind. He could sense their fear, their confidence, their uncertainty, and he used this knowledge to his advantage, turning their own emotions against them. His calm demeanor and calculated bets often masked the true extent of his hand. To the untrained eye, Holliday's face was a mask of serenity, betraying nothing of the turmoil or triumph that lay beneath. But behind that calm exterior was a mind constantly at work, weighing the risks and rewards of each move. His bets were not just wagers, they were carefully crafted strategies, designed to mislead and manipulate his opponents. In the high-stakes world of Western gambling, Holliday's composure was his greatest weapon. Opponents, lulled into a false sense of security, would find themselves outmatched and outmaneuvered. They might have entered the game with confidence, but by the time Holliday was done with them, they were left questioning their own abilities. His victories were not just about winning money, they were about asserting his dominance, proving that he was a force to be reckoned with. Each defeated opponent was a testament to his skill, a reminder that in the world of Western gambling, Doc Holliday was king. Whispers of his exploits spread through the saloons and gambling dens, cementing his reputation as a man not to be trifled with, both with a gun and a deck of cards. Stories of his legendary wins and narrow escapes became the stuff of legend, passed down from one gambler to the next. In a world where reputation was everything, Holliday's name was synonymous with both danger and brilliance. He was a man who could outshoot you in a duel and outplay you at the poker table, a true icon of the Old West. Holliday's gambling prowess wasn't a matter of luck. It was a skill meticulously developed over countless hours at the poker table, where every hand dealt was a lesson learned. It was a craft honed over years of practice and observation. Each shuffle, each deal, each bet placed was a step towards mastering the art of the game. He possessed a keen intellect and a thirst for knowledge, traits that extended beyond the gambling table. His analytical mind allowed him to read his opponents, to see through their bluffs and to anticipate their moves. He was a trained dentist, having graduated from the Pennsylvania College of Dental Surgery. This background in dentistry might seem unrelated, but it provided him with a unique perspective and a steady hand, both of which were invaluable at the poker table. But the allure of the West and the freedom it offered proved too strong to resist. The frontier called to him, promising adventure and the chance to test his skills against the best. His early years on the frontier were a harsh education in the realities of gambling. The saloons were filled with seasoned gamblers, each with their own tricks and strategies. He learned from seasoned card sharps, observing their techniques, deciphering their tells, and developing his own strategies. He watched how they handled the cards, how they placed their bets, and how they reacted to wins and losses. He understood that gambling was more than just luck. It was a game of skill, psychology, and calculated risk. Every decision at the table was a blend of intuition and analysis, a balance of boldness and caution. Holliday's approach to gambling was methodical. He studied the odds, calculated the risks, and made his moves with precision. His ability to remain calm under pressure and his unwavering focus set him apart from the average gambler. The saloons of the Old West were not just places of leisure. They were arenas where reputations were made and lost. Holliday's reputation as a formidable gambler grew with each game he played. He knew that every hand he played was a test of his skills and his ability to read his opponents. The stakes were high and the margin for error was slim. Bluffing was an art form in itself, and Holliday mastered it. He could feign confidence or uncertainty with equal ease, keeping his opponents guessing and off balance.